Hey, Star. Disruptions including but not limited to speaking out of turn and making loud noises and loud utterances are in violation of the rules and interfere with the due conduct of this lawful meeting. Such disruptions may constitute a misdemeanor and a violation of Section 605.04. Anyone who disrupts this lawful meeting in violation of the codified ordinances commits misdemeanors and is subject to prosecution. The following is the first and only warning. If this meeting is disrupted, I will gavel a halt to the proceedings and direct the assembled officers to escort any person participating in the disruption out of the chamber. Once persons participating in the disruption are outside of the chambers, the officers will close the doors and the disruptors will be handled as directed by the Director of Public Safety. The council proceedings will not begin again until those that participated in the disruption have left the chamber and the chamber doors are closed. Disruptors will not be allowed back in the chamber after the meeting resumes. Again, this is the first and only warning. Madam Clerk, please dispense with the journal.
By Councilmember Slythe, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with the journal approved. Seconded by Councilmember Santana.
Thank you. Are there any communications?
File number 958, 2026, from Director Martin Kane, Director of Public Utilities. In accordance with Section 129.295, notice of acceptance of 5 loans from the Water Supply Revolving Loan Account for the Division of Water. File number 959, 2026, from Larry Jones II, Commissioner of Innovation and Technology Services, utilizing the cooperative purchasing agreement with Dell Technology for the purchase of equipment. File number 960, 2026, oath of office for Brandon Brown, Esquire, member Civilian Police Review Board. File number 962, 2026, oath of office for Tiffany Scruggs, Chief of Community Services. File number 972, 2026, from Director Barrett, Director of Finance, notice of Cleveland Debt Policy 2026 summary. File number 973, 2026, dedication plat for West 41st and Burton subdivision project located south of Burton Court between West 41st and West 40th Place, Ward 7, approved by Committees on Municipal Services and Properties and Development Planning and Sustainability, Without objection, the plat is approved. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, file number 963, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership, 6206 Woodland Avenue, Ward 5. File number 964, 2026, regarding a new license application at 6608 Cedar Avenue, Ward 5. File number 965, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 1295 Old River Road, Ward 7. File number 966, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 11025 Ashbury Avenue, Ward 9. File number 967, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 15521 St. Clair Avenue, Ward 10. File number 968, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 1822 West 25th Street, Ward 7. File number 969, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 6025 St. Clair Avenue, Ward 8. File number 970, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 4525 Turney Road, Ward 2. File number 971, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 2701 Lorraine Avenue, Ward 7. File number 1016, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 402 Euclid Avenue, Ward 5. File number 1017, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 15435 St. Clair Avenue, Ward 10.
Thank you. We'll move to condolence resolutions.
Resolutions of condolence by Councilmember House Jones for Stephen Thomas Sr., by Councilmember Polensek for Michael Lee Hare Jr., by Councilmember Davis for Reverend Robert J. Kropick, by Councilmember Polensek for Joanne Patton, by Councilmembers Jones and Gray for Jeanette D. Edinburgh, by Councilmember Bishop for Hope King, by Councilmember Gray for Louise Bodie, by Councilmember Casey for Guillermina Robles, by Councilmembers Starr and House Jones for Robert Samuel Grant Jr., by Councilmember Polensek for Robert F. Rose Sr., by Councilmember Polensek for Irene M. Morrow, by Councilmember Polensek for Michael J. Kurlovic, by Councilmember Gray for Beverly Claudine Burns, by Councilmember Griffin for Baba
Afi
Nkrumah,
Nkrumah.
by Councilmembers Jones and Gray for Ella Holt Thomas, by Councilmember Polensek for Thomas Joseph Kaiser, by Councilmember Conwell for Mimi Doty, by Councilmember Conwell for Charles W. Barber, by Councilmember Griffin for Francis J. Williams.
Thank you. Councilman Harsh, any other condolences?
Madam Clerk, can we hold out a number for Cindy Flanagan?
So noted.
Councilman Michael Polensek? Yeah. Willie Britt passed away?
Yes.
Someone, I would love for someone to add me to that. I did not know that he passed away. Okay. Councilman Slife? Hold it on your, just tap it. There you go. Tap it.
Yes.
Yeah, we all would like
Yes.
to hold out a number for Dr. Flance. Is it appropriate for all council members to be added to Dr. Flance Cable?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Are there any other condolence resolutions? Seeing no other condolence resolutions, will all council members rise for a moment of silence? Thank you. Are there any congratulatory resolutions?
Resolutions of congratulations by Councilmember Griffin for the Sally-bration 2026, by Councilmember Jones for Reverend Dr. Rebecca Stitt. By Councilmember Jones for the Daz Band. By Councilmember Polensek for alumni of Collinwood High School on their 100th anniversary. By Councilmember Jones for Reverend Ernest Stewart. By Councilmembers Starr and Jones for Greater Cleveland Works. By Councilmember Griffin for Forward Weight and Wellness Grand Opening. By Councilmember Davis for Western Reserve Fire Museum on its 100th anniversary. By Councilmember Slife for Diane Deaver. By Councilmember Griffin for Dr. Ronnie A. Dunn. By Councilmember Slife for Premier Hair Replacement on their grand opening. By Councilmember Jones for Greater Harvard Church of God in Christ on their 40th anniversary. By Councilmember Griffin for Sergeant Tim Kaine on his retirement. By Councilmember Harsh for Layla Voss on her retirement. By Councilmember Griffin for Harry Boomer. By Councilmember Polensek for Chief Wayne F. Nader Jr. on his retirement. By Councilmember Jones for JFK Class of 1969 on their reunion. Resolutions of recognition by Councilmember Santana for Sue Crossell. By Councilmember Hudson for Dampers Automotive. By Councilmember Polensek for Timothy Donovan, 2026 Clay Herrick Memorial Awards honoree.
Thank you. First, we don't have any presentations. We'll move to first reading emergency ordinances referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 902, 2026 by Councilmembers Slife and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Port Control to exercise a second option to renew a contract with PMG Executive Program Management to provide executive airport development programming, financing, planning, design, and related services. Ordinance 903, 2026 by Councilmembers Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more requirement contracts without competitive bidding with Business, Inc. for the purchase of various proprietary equipment and services to maintain and replace existing components of various drinking water systems. Ordinance 904, 2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to make additional appropriations of $1,064,980 to the general fund and $1,064,980 to the special revenue fund. Ordinance 905, 2026 by Councilmembers Conwell and Griffin by departmental request to amend sections 241, 05, and 35 of the codified ordinances relating to food shop license fees and categories. Ordinance 906, 2026 by Councilmembers Polensek and Griffin by departmental request to authorize an amendment to the agreement entered into with Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Division relating to conduct of the PASS program. Ordinance 907, 2026 by Councilmembers Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant from United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance on their fiscal year 26 Burn Discretionary Community Projects Fund for the Cleveland Public Safety Radio Program. Ordinance 909, 2026 by Councilmembers Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Health to apply for and accept a grant from Ohio Department of Health for the Local Tobacco Prevention and Control Grant and to enter into one or more contracts with various agencies, entities, or individuals to implement the grant. Ordinance 910, 2026 by Councilmembers Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Attorney General for fiscal year 26 Shine a Light on Dumpers Grant Program, and authorizing the Director to enter into one or more contracts with various agencies or entities to implement the grant. Ordinance 911, 2026 by Councilmembers Bishop, Starr, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to apply for and accept a grant from Cleveland Guardians Charities for the baseball and softball summer youth program. Ordinance 912, 2026 by Councilmembers Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to enter into one or more concession agreements for the operation of a first-class food and beverage service in the Public Auditorium and Conference Center for a period not to exceed 3 years with two one-year options to renew. Ordinance 913, 2026, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, to correct the co-numbering of Section 129.296 of the codified ordinances, number 129.296 as the section number of the Department of Public Utilities Suburban Water Main Renewal Program, and renumbering the section relating to the Department of Public Utilities accepting gifts or awards enacted under Ordinance 812, 2024, and reaffirming the expiration date for that section to be December 31st, 2029. Ordinance 915, 2026, by Council Members Santana and Griffin by departmental request. Did I skip one? Okay. To amend Section 457, 02, 03, 10, and 99 of the codified ordinances relating to the public garages and public lots. Ordinance 916, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $2,885,000 for the purpose of retiring outstanding bond anticipation notes that were issued to provide funds to acquire vehicles and equipment for the performing functions of the city's departments, including the Department of Public Works and Department of Public Safety. Ordinance 917, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $1,385,000 for the purpose of retiring outstanding bond anticipation notes that were issued to provide funds to acquire heavy-duty trucks and equipment for performing functions of the city's Department of Public Works and Department of Public Safety. Ordinance 918, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $6,730,000 for the purpose of retiring outstanding bond anticipation notes that were issued to provide funds to improve municipal parks and recreation facilities. Ordinance 919, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $13,650,000 for the purpose of retiring outstanding bond anticipation notes that were issued to provide funds to improve buildings and structures and providing for the discharge of governmental functions and services otherwise benefiting the public safety, health, and welfare for the provision of necessary fixtures, furnishings, equipment, technology, appurtenances, utilities, and site improvements for the purpose and authorizing related matters. Ordinance 920, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the issuance and sale of bonds in the maximum principal amount of $13,975,000 for the purpose of retiring outstanding bond anticipation notes that were issued to provide funds to improve the municipal street system and related facilities and authorizing related matters. Ordinance 921, 2026, by Council Members Slife, Bishop, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request to vacate a portion of each of the following streets: Forest Wood Avenue Southwest, Midvale Avenue Southwest, West 185th Street, West 188th Street, and West 190th Street. Ordinance 922, 2026, by Council Members Bishop, Starr, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Directors of Parks and Recreation and/or Finance as appropriate to enter into one or more contracts with Cleveland Metropolitan School District to conduct recreational, cultural, extracurricular programs for the benefit of school children during the 2025-26 school year. Ordinance 923, 2026, by council members Santana, Bishop, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the directors of development and/or finance to apply for and accept a grant from U.S. Department of Transportation for the Regional Infrastructure Accelerator Program, and authorizing the director to enter into one or more professional services contracts to implement the grant. Ordinance 924, 2026, by council members Slife and Griffin, by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of designing and constructing an upgrade and improvement to the inline baggage system at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into one or more contracts with Cleveland Terminal and Equipment Company for that purpose, authorizing the purchase of materials, equipment, and supplies, services if not provided under the public improvement, and authorizing one or more agreements to implement the improvement. Ordinance 926, 2026, by council members Bishop and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the directors of capital projects and/or city planning to apply for and accept grants from the Ohio Department of Transportation for the 2024 Pedestrian Safety Improvement Program to implement safety improvements at various sites throughout the city, to apply for and accept any gifts or grants from any public or private entity, giving consent of the City of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio to construct the safety improvements, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to enter into any relative agreements, and causing payment to the state for the city's share of the improvement. Ordinance 927, 2026, by council members Conwell, Santana, Polensek, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the directors of public health, development, and/or public safety to enter into one or more agreements with the Board of Education of Cleveland Municipal School District for the exchange of lands for future redevelopment and the mutual benefit of the parties, and authorizing the mayor and commissioner of purchases and supplies to acquire and convey the properties. Ordinance 928, 2026, by council members Shaw, Hudson, Bishop, Polensek, Santana, and Griffin, by departmental request, to appropriate property for the public purpose of constructing the new City of Cleveland Fire Station 23, located at 122 Madison Avenue. Ordinance 929, 2026, by council members Casey and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more contracts with the Cleveland Water Alliance for professional services necessary to provide state-of-the-art water quality detection equipment, and to deploy, maintain, and retrieve data from 4 buoys in Lake Erie for the Division of Water, Department of Public Utilities. Ordinance 930, 2026, by council member Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the clerk of the Cleveland Municipal Court and the Director of Finance to employ one or more professional consultants to process and collect parking infrastructure tickets and other civil tickets for a term not to exceed 3 years, with 1 2-year option to renew, exercisable by the clerk of Cleveland Municipal Court or the Director of Finance as appropriate. Ordinance 931, 2026, by council members Bishop and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the directors of Parks and Recreation and/or Capital Projects to enter into an agreement with Cleveland Browns Stadium Company, LLC, to reimburse the Cleveland Browns for the emergency repairs made to the Huntington Field performed by Cleveland Browns Stadium Company, LLC. Ordinance 932, 2026, by council members Casey and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of materials, equipment, supplies, and services needed to install, maintain, repair, or replace components of electrical, transmission, and distribution systems, including labor, for the Division of Cleveland Public Power. Ordinance 933, 2026, by council members Casey and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of labor and materials necessary to maintain control systems of the SCADA and PCCS systems for the various divisions of the Department of Public Utilities, and authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more contracts without competitive bidding with various companies to provide critical proprietary components for the SCADA and PCCS equipment for the Division of Water, Cleveland Public Power. Ordinance 934, 2026, by council members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of underwater diving, inspection, cleaning, debris removal, and occasional repair of submerged water-filled facilities for the Division of Water, Department of Public Utilities. Ordinance 947, 2026, by council members Santana and Griffin by departmental request to supplement the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, by enacting new sections 144A.01 and 05 relating to Northeast Ohio Advanced Energy District projects. Ordinance 950, 2026, by council members House Jones and Starr, amending the title in Section 2 of Ordinance 715, 2025, relating to Cleveland casino revenues by use of Cleveland City Council. Resolution, Ordinance 974, 2026, by Councilmember Slife, to amend Section 133.07, Special Events Permits of the codified ordinances as enacted by Ordinance 521, 2024, to exempt permit applicants for block parties and small neighborhood-based community events from obtaining an additional street obstruction permit.
Thank you. First reading, emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 889, 2026, by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the American Heart Association's Greater Cleveland Heart Walk 1 mile and 3 mile on September 26, 2026. Ordinance 893, 2026, by Councilmember Bishop, to amend Section 1 of Ordinance 556, 2023, authorizing a grant agreement to partially finance construction of homes for veterans experiencing homelessness. Ordinance 894, 2026, by Councilmember Gray, to amend Section 1 of Ordinance 1156, 2023, authorizing economic development assistance to partially finance renovation of a health and wellness facility known as the Oasis in the city. Ordinance 897, 2026, by Councilmembers Griffin and Gray, authorizing the Director of Department of Aging to enter into agreement with Community Housing Solutions for the Slavic Village Home Repair Project, providing essential home repair activities, increasing independence and safe housing through the use of closed Ward 12 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 898, 2026, by Councilmember Starr, authorizing the Director of Department of Development to enter into agreement with Eternal Housing Fund or its designee for the Oasis Hyacinth Project, providing affordable housing for Cleveland residents through the use of Ward 5 neighborhood equity funds. Ordinance 899, 2026, by Councilmember Bishop, authorizing the Director of Department of Development to enter into agreement with New Point Community Development Corporation for the Walter Collins Veterans Home Project, providing affordable rental housing for the unhoused veterans through the use of Ward 2 neighborhood equity funds. Ordinance 900, 2026, by Councilmember Davis, authorizing the Director of Department of City Planning to enter into agreement with Tremont West Development Corporation for the Lincoln Park Mural Restoration Project through the use of Ward 7 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 908, 2026, by Councilmember Conwell, authorizing the Director of Department of Public Safety to enter into agreement with the Ginger Ridge MHA or designee for the public purpose of providing the East 105th Safety and Security Program through the use of Ward 9 Neighborhood Equity Funds. Ordinance 925, 2026 by Councilmember Polensek, authorizing the Director of Department of Community Development to enter into agreement with Bright Cleveland for Bright Winer Festival 2027, providing opportunities fostering community through music and cultural arts programming through the use of Ward 10 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 938, 2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request to amend Section 2 of Ordinance 664, 2022 relating to the Community-Based Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiative as part of the Cleveland Thrive Project Program. Ordinance 939, 2026 by Councilmembers Bishop and Griffin by departmental request to amend Sections 3K, 3L, 4 and 5, and 10 of Ordinance 482, 2022 as amended to replace the Department of Community Development with the Department of Development. Ordinance 940, 2026 by Councilmembers Bishop and Griffin by departmental request to amend the title in Sections 1, 2, 2A, 2B, and 2C of Ordinance 565-17 relating to conducting a program to make loans or grants for down payment assistance, appraisal gap funding, and construction gap funding for single-family homes to add the Department of Development. Ordinance 941, 2026 by Councilmembers Santana and Griffin by departmental request to amend Section 2 of Ordinance 906, 2020 relating to a tax increment financing agreement with Library Lofts LLC and/or UC City Center LLC and/or its designee for a development project to remove the term not to exceed beyond 2050 and to provide a summary of supplemental project phases and authorizing amendments to existing TIF agreements and supplemental TIF escrow agreements. Ordinance 942, 2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request to amend Section 27 of Ordinance 194, 2021 as amended relating to salaries for various classifications. Ordinance 943, 2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request to amend Section 31 of Ordinance 194, 2021 relating to salaries for various classifications. Ordinance 944, 2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request authorizing the Director of Finance on behalf of the Cleveland Municipal Court to apply for and accept a grant from Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Services Board to expand access to evidence-based supervision and treatment services for defendants of 4 specialized dockets, and authorizing the Director to enter into one or more contracts with various agencies, entities, or individuals to implement the grant. Ordinance 944, 2026 by Councilmembers House Jones, Starr, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request, approving the report of the Assessment Equalization Board on objections concerning estimated assessments with respect to Cleveland Superior Arts Improvement District, determining to proceed with the plan to provide public services within the district, adopting the assessments, levying the assessments, and authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with Cleveland Superior Arts Improvement Corporation. Ordinance 946, 2026 by Councilmembers Slife and Griffin by departmental request, determining the method of making the public improvement of purchasing, installing, disposing, designing, and constructing up to 12 passenger boarding bridges and appurtenances, and authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into one or more contracts for the making of the improvement. Ordinance 948, 2026 by Councilmember House Jones, authorizing the Director of Finance to transfer neighborhood equity funds to the Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunity to support youth engagement programs sponsored by the Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunity. Ordinance 949, 2026, by Councilmember Harsh, repealing Ordinance 469, 2026, and supplementing the codified ordinances by amending Section 195.01 as amended, related to admissions tax exemptions.
Thank you. First reading, emergency resolutions referred for administrative review and committee review.
Resolution 956, 2026, by Councilmember Starr, urging the United States Postal Service to establish an age-friendly mail access initiative working committee in partnership with Cleveland City Council and Administration's Department of Aging, Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority, and senior affordable housing providers and property owners to provide secure and accessible outgoing mail collection services for residents living in senior high-rise and senior residential buildings throughout the city of Cleveland.
Thank you. First reading, emergency resolutions to be adopted. All right. Call the roll on passage. I'm sorry, my agenda's a little turned around today, everybody. I apologize. So call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 13 yeas.
Where am I at on this thing?
I'll just call the roll. Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. On 9/41/2026, 11 yeas, 2 nays. On all others, 13 yeas.
We ready? First reading, emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 890, 2026, by Councilmember Hudson, objecting to the renewal of a D1, D2, D3, D3A, and D6 liquor permit at 5517 Memphis Avenue. Resolution 891, 2026, by Councilmember Harsh, withdrawing objection to the renewal of a D1, D2, D3, D3A, and D6 liquor permit at 4896 Pearl Road, and repealing Resolution 792, 2025, objecting to said renewal. Resolution 892, 2026, by Councilmember Davis, supporting the application from Great Lakes Towing Company to the Ohio Department of Development for a brownfield remediation grant for remediation of the former Cuyahoga River Old Channel Graving Dock property located in the city at 4500 Division Avenue. Resolution 895, 2026, by Councilmember Hudson, withdrawing objection to the renewal of a D1, D2, D3, D3A, and D6 liquor permit at 4818-22 Memphis Avenue, and repealing Resolution 945, 2025, objecting to said renewal. Resolution 896, 2026, by Councilmember Starr, objecting to the renewal of a D5, D6 liquor permit at 1938 Euclid Avenue. Resolution 901, 2026, by Councilmember Bishop, objecting to the transfer of ownership of a C2, C2X liquor permit to 4525 Turney Road. Resolution 951, 2026, by Councilmember Bishop, objecting to the transfer of ownership of a C1, C2 liquor permit at 11921 Miles Avenue. Resolution 952, 2026, by Councilmember Bishop, objecting to the transfer of ownership of a D5 liquor permit to 11917-19 Miles Avenue. Resolution 953, 2026, by Councilmember Starr, supporting the application from Cuyahoga County Land Reutilization Corporation to the Ohio Department of Development for a brownfield remediation grant for remediation of property located at 836 Broadway Avenue in Ward 5. Resolution 954, 2026, by Councilmember Polensek, opposing the proposal from the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation that would weaken protections provided by Section 106 of National Historic Preservation Act by making it easier for federal government to approve projects affecting historic places without giving local communities a meaningful voice. Resolution 955, 2026, by Councilmember Slife, honoring TV20 and celebrating the 40th anniversary of first going on the air. Resolution 957, 2026, by Councilmember Starr, urging the mayor and the administration to convene a coordinated downtown and citywide food access and grocery stability meeting, calling for the development of a Cleveland grocery access and neighborhood market initiative, and expressing council's support for a comprehensive strategy to attract, retain, stabilize, and hold accountable full-service grocery operators serving Cleveland neighborhoods. Resolution 975, 2026, by Council Members Hudson, Davis, Harsh, Santana, and Shaw, supporting the Cleveland Public Library workers and strongly urging Cleveland Public Library leadership to reach an agreement with SEIU District 1199 that supports library employees while ensuring sustainable, high-quality services for Cleveland residents. Resolution 1015, 2026, by Councilmember Davis, objecting to the renewal of a D1, D2, D3, D3A, and D6 liquor permit at 1909 and 1917 West 25th Street.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Slife, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Santana.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 13 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. Councilwoman, pass her microphone.
Councilwoman House Jones.
Add myself and Councilman Slife to Resolution 975, 2026, please.
975,
975, yes.
so noted.
Thank you. Second reading emergency ordinances to be passed. Are there any?
No, let me, okay, I'll call the roll on passage. Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 13 yeas.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
Nope. Did that. So. These are second reading?
So I just went into the second. What we do? Say that again. I'm lost. Tell me where I'm at. I'm lost. Y'all got me confused today. We did that. First reading of ordinance referred for administrative review and committee review. We did that.
That's what I have now. Ordinance 935, 2026 by Councilmember Griffin, changing the use, height, and area districts of parcels of land east of East 89th Street between Beckman and Capitol Avenues, and subjecting an area titled the Site Development Boundary to Section 333.02 of the Cleveland Zoning Code and attaching the approved site development plan. Ordinance 936, 2026 by Councilmember Santana, changing zone districts of parcels of land north of Meyer between West 31st and West 30th Streets as shown on the attached map. Ordinance 937, 2026 by Councilmember Conwell, changing the zoning districts of parcels of land south of St. Clair Avenue between Lakeview Road and Thornhill Drive.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Slife, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read, be placed on final passage. Seconded by Councilmember Santana.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Star. 13 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Star. 13 yeas. Okay. Second reading.
We did second reading. We are now should be on legislation to be tabled. Second reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 552, 2026, as amended by Council Members Santana, Bishop, Polensek, Casey, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Development to transfer various permanent parcels to the control, possession, and use of Departments of Parks and Recreation, Public Safety, and Public Utilities for the future development of parks, recreation centers, trails, and public facilities. Ordinance 615, 2026, as amended by Council Members Starr, House Jones, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request, establishing the East Side TIF District, declaring improvements to certain parcels of real property within that district to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation, describing the public infrastructure improvements to be made to directly benefit the district, requiring the owners of the improvements on such parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, providing for the distribution of those service payments to Cleveland Municipal School District and to one or more funds established by the city to hold those service payments, determining the satisfactory provision has been made for the public improvement needs of the district and specifying other public improvements that are in support of urban redevelopment within the city. Ordinance 693, 2026, as amended by Council Members Starr, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with East 9th Scarlet LLC or its designee to assist with financing the East 9th Scarlet LLC project to be located at 2060 East 9th Street, to provide for payments to Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and to declare certain improvements to real property to be a public purpose. Ordinance 744, 2026, by Council Members Slife and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into one or more requirement contracts with Siemens Industry for software, labor, and materials necessary to maintain, repair, upgrade, and expand the existing Apogee Building automation system for the Division of Airports Department of Port Control. Ordinance 746, 2026, as amended by Council Members Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Health to apply for and accept a grant from the United States Department of Homeland Security for the BioWatch program, and authorizing the Director to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts for courier services needed to transport BioWatch samples to the Ohio Department of Health. Ordinance 747, 2026, by Council Members Davis, Bishop, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request to change the name of a portion of Scranton Road to Eagle Avenue. Ordinance 749, 2026, by Council Member Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to pay as moral claims the sum opposite the names of the claimant. Ordinance 759, 2026, by Council Members Santana, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request to vacate a portion of an unnamed alley south of Train Avenue between West 56th and Cantor Avenue. Ordinance 760, 2026, by Council Members Davis, Bishop, Santana, and Griffin by departmental request to vacate all of the unnamed alley south of Abbey Avenue. Ordinance 761, 2026, by council members Griffin, Bishop, and Santana, by departmental request, to vacate a portion of East 81st Street. Ordinance 762, 2026, by council members Griffin, Bishop, and Santana, by departmental request, to vacate a portion of Mount Carmel Road. Ordinance 763, 2026, by council members Santana and Griffin, by departmental request, to amend the title in sections 1, 2, and 4 of Ordinance 671, 2023, as amended, to provide financial assistance to projects providing housing in the city of Cleveland, to add the Department of Development. Ordinance 764, 2026, by council members Santana, Bishop, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the mayor and the commissioner of purchases and supplies to sell city-owned property no longer needed for the city's public use located at the southeast corner of Train Avenue and West 44th Street to the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 8 for purposes of property consolidation and green space maintenance. Ordinance 766, 2026, by council members House Jones, Griffin, Bishop, and Santana, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to UC City Center LLC to encroach into the public rights-of-way of Chester Avenue, Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, and Stokes Boulevard. Ordinance 767, 2026, by council members Davis, Bishop, and Santana, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to the Cleveland Public Theater to encroach into the public right-of-way of Detroit Avenue by installing and maintaining a new blade sign. Ordinance 768, 2026, by council members Slife, Bishop, and Santana, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to enter into a maintenance, inspection, and repair agreement with and to issue a permit to Cleveland Clinic Foundation to encroach onto, over, and within the public right-of-way of Lorraine Avenue by constructing, installing, using, and maintaining an overhead pedestrian bridge. Ordinance 770, 2026, by council members Starr, House Jones, Bishop, Santana, and Griffin, by departmental request, giving consent to the Norfolk Southern Corporation to proceed with the improvement of replacing the Superior Avenue Railroad Bridge and railroad track and replacing and repositioning support columns under the bridge on Superior Avenue located north of Central Avenue Southeast to East 26th Street at no cost to the city, and authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to enter into any agreements relative to the improvement. Ordinance 878, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin, authorizing the Clerk of Council to enter into agreement with American Legal Publishing for the professional services necessary to provide online access and web hosting services for the charter and the codified ordinances to edit and post all new amendatory ordinances online, update the code online regularly, edit and print replacement pages with updates to the code and other services as may be necessary for code supplementation, and to authorize any amendments to the contract that may be necessary for additional printings of the codified ordinances during the term.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Slife, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Santana.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 13 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. On 6/15/2026, 11 yeas, 2 nays. On all others, 13 yeas. On 6/93/2026, 11 yeas, 2 nays.
Thank you. Legislation to be tabled.
Ordinance 658, 2026, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Executive Director of the Community Police Commission or the Director of Finance on behalf of Community Police Commission to enter into one or more grant agreements with various entities for purposes facilitating community-based violence prevention, restorative justice, and mediation programs for Community Police Commission. Ordinance 692, 2026, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to employ one or more professional consultants to provide climbing safety training and mentorship to support development for the Division of Urban Forestry for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Parks and Recreation.
Call the roll on approval of tabling.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Star. 13 yeas.
Thank you. Are there any introductions? Any introductions? Seeing no introductions, are there any announcements? Any announcements? Any announcements? Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones.
Next Thursday, August 27th, the Cleveland Commission on Black Women and Girls will be meeting here at Cleveland City Hall at 5:00 p.m. We will have a presentation from Pearls. They will be providing an update on their initiative, Guard the Girlhood. So just wanted the community to know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. President. This weekend is my second councilmanic event, which is the Seafest, the Southeast Asian Festival at Lower Edgewater. It's from noon to 8 p.m. I'm really excited about it, so hope everybody can come check it out, get some great food, and have a good time.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements? Councilwoman Deborah Gray.
The City Club is giving a event at Shaker Square, August 27th from 5 to 7. We have 3 panelists. Our Honorable President Council going to be one, Melissa Garrett going to be another one, and Brittany Berry going to be the 3rd panelist, and we're going to talk about the revitalization of Shaker Square. They're going to give a huge event, food, partying, games for kids, and all that good stuff. And the panelists going to be in the Atlas Theater from 6 to 7. So please come and hear about our great new plan for Shaker Square.
Thanks for reminding me, Councilwoman. All right, thank you. All right, seeing no other announcements, miscellaneous. Councilman Starr, and Councilman Starr has asked for additional time. Once again, when you do want a miscellaneous, please ask for additional time so that we could plan appropriately, but we all want to try to stay within the 4-minute time rule. Councilman Starr.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, colleagues. I know we had committee of the whole today, so I'm going to be real brief as I possibly can. I know I asked for additional time, but I definitely want to speak about 2 resolutions that were introduced today. One is 956, 2026, and the other is 957. So 957 is very important. It is something that we've all been hearing and discussing over the years about grocery stores and having access to those in our neighborhoods in the city of Cleveland. So the resolution is something that everyone knows that we're dealing with, where grocery store operators are either leaving, they're not able to sustain because of the margins and the profits. So I want to make sure I say that this is bigger than just one grocery store operator. We know that Heinz left downtown, and that is a real impact that it's going to have in the residents of downtown, but it also is a major issue that we need to deal with through citywide, because if we can't maintain a grocery store in our downtown neighborhood, you know we are losing them in our neighborhoods each and every day. So I wanted to make sure you know that this is about making sure residents have access to fresh, affordable, and nutritious food. Grocery access is not simply a retail issue. It is a public health, economic development, transportation, neighborhood stability, and quality of life issue. The loss of grocery stores should not be the moment when Cleveland starts developing a strategy. We need to know which neighborhoods are vulnerable before the next store closes. My goal is to move Cleveland from being reactive to being proactive when it comes to grocery access. We need a stronger strategy than just simply offering a grocery chain a tax break and hoping it opens. That is not going to happen. A subsidy may help open the doors, but it does not guarantee that those doors remain open. Long-term grocery store sustainability depends on the customer demand and purchasing patterns, operating expertise, the security, which is oftentimes a challenge that we don't address, and insurance and utility costs, transportation and parking, supply chain economics, property and infrastructure conditions, and the surrounding neighborhood's economic. This is something that we have to do. That's why I wanted to tell you that with this resolution, this is opening the door for us to create what I believe is the solution, a three-part legislative strategy, where the first initiative is us putting together a 10 to 15 million range of dollars toward a grocery store access fund. This should be established to a dedicated fund to help Cleveland attract and retain sustainable grocery operators. This should not become a blank check for the grocery store chain. The fund should be addressed to legitimate barriers such as site preparation, infrastructure, financing gaps, and improvements necessary to make strategically important grocery location decisions. The city dollars should also be used to leverage private, philanthropic, county, state, and federal investment. This is how we're going to be able to come up with what it means to make sure we have groceries access in our neighborhoods. Second part will be creating a grocery development fast track. We just heard we had a grocery store leave downtown, so that might be a location that you could possibly say what kind of new market of grocery stores can be operated in there. If you have somewhere in your neighborhood where you know a grocery store once operated, what can we do to make sure we find how to fast track getting people into there? And then the third would be creating a grocery store operator, RFP, where we stop sitting back and waiting on grocery store companies to tell us whether they're going to come into our neighborhood. We're going to make sure we have everything as far as the tools to make sure that they can survive in the market of Cleveland by making sure people understand that building a permanent grocery solution does take time, but residents still need access to food during that process. So we want to work together with the citywide food access and the grocery store stability meeting. We need the mayor's office, we need council office, we need city departments, we need RTA at the table, we need Cuyahoga County at the table, CMHA, grocery operators, property owners, developers, food access organizations, institutions, and residents at the same time, at the same table, because we cannot continue to say that people are going to survive in our city when we're losing grocery stores left to right. This is not something about a press conference. This does not mean success is about simply announcing another grocery store is coming. Success is opening a grocery store that residents can actually use and that has a sustainable business model. Success is not coming back 5 and 10 years later and the store is still serving the community. So I wanted to make sure you know about the importance of 957 that I've been working on. And then the last one that we've been working on is 956-2026. Now, when I've been canvassing this summer, talking to residents in our senior buildings, and one of the things they brought to my attention is, Councilman, they mentioned was, we are having trouble with the mail. I said, what's going on with your mail? A lot of residents live in senior buildings. In the city of Cleveland, we have 95 senior high-rise buildings in the city of Cleveland. Some of the residents are able to have access to their transportation to be able to use their cars, but the vast majority of them have limited access to their transportation. So when the mail comes in to their apartment, they're able to come down from the 10th floor or the 15th floor to the mailbox, but when they need to send back that check to mail their bills, to get that outgoing mail going, they have to travel far distance and they cannot do that. So we need to make sure those seniors who use a walker or wheelchair, do not drive and have limited access, they have what I would call the United States Postal Service to work with the Cleveland, the city of Cleveland, as well as our council office and department agent to come up with a strategy. If we don't have a blue mailbox in front of that building, then we need to see if they can add a safe, secure, outgoing mail slot in that building so our residents can make sure they are be able to have access to get their mail out. If we don't do this, then we can't keep talking about we want to make sure our seniors age in place when they are not aging in place because they are not getting their issues met or their needs met from the city of Cleveland. So I'm looking forward to being able to work with the United States Postal Officers, reaching out to our people and our colleagues in the federal government and Congress as well to be able to see how we can work to get the United States Postal Service to the table with the city of Cleveland and discuss this strategy so we can make sure we're all delivering for all of our residents in the city of Cleveland. So as I wrap up, I just want to say thank you, colleagues. I want you to know that I'm respectfully ask for your support on the age-friendly mail access initiative and then the Cleveland Grocery Store Access and Neighborhood Market Initiative. These resolutions are here to help make access to the United States Postal Service safer and also make sure that residents in all of Cleveland have access to good quality food and services. Thank you.
All right. Are there any other miscellaneous? Any other miscellaneous? All right, seeing no other miscellaneous, Madam Clerk, please excuse the absences.
By Councilmember Slife, that the absence of Council Members Bishop and Jones are hereby excused, seconded by Councilmember Santana.
Thank you. Council is adjourned to the call of the chair. The next meeting of council will be on Monday, September the 14th, 2026.